morning, leaders. Today is Thursday, May 4th, 2023.
For lunch today, we have chicken nuggets, sweet potato fries, broccoli with cheese, fruit, and milk.
For breakfast tomorrow, we have breakfast pizza, fruit, juice, and milk.
4th grade will continue taking the island test. Please be quiet in the hallways.
The art show will begin on May 5th throughout our hallways.
The Colts mascot, Blue, will be here Monday, 8th for convocation in the gym.
It's time for Habit Heroes from Mrs. Bowles' class. Zoe McCombs, Habit 8, Find Your Voice. Zoe works hard in the classroom and enjoys learning about the habits. She reminds her friends to make good choices in the classroom and on the playground. She is a great leader and role model. From Mrs. Shannon's class, Carson Myers, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. Carson plays hard. He loves to spend time playing outside, in the water, and spending time with friends. From Mrs. Hanson's class, Diesel Reitzma, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. Diesel works hard in class. He gives his best effort to his work with a smile. Then at recess, he finds friends and plays fun games. It has been so good to see Diesel find this balance and demonstrate Habit 7 for his classmates throughout the school year. From Mrs. Wade's class, Hendrix McCombs, Habit 3, Put first things first. Hendrix works before he plays. School is a big rock for him, and he actively participates in his learning. He raises his hand during lessons and focuses on what we are learning. For Mrs. Lawson's class, Taylor Steele, Habits 1, 2, and 3. Taylor has been such a hard worker this whole school year. She has done everything she needed to do to become a reader, a really good one. Adults that have worked with her have commented about how much she has learned. Mrs. Lawson is so proud of her. For Mrs. Tidwell's class, Caden Leach, Habit 1, Be Proactive. Caden has worked really hard this year to become a better reader and meet his goals. All of his hard work is paying off. Now he always has a book in his hands. For Mrs. Conley's class, Jace Hart, Habit 1, Be Proactive. Jace has worked very hard this year and has really taken off. He has had to work through a lot of struggles, but has kept his attitude positive. He always tries to do what is right and follow the rules. From Mrs. Barger's class, Caden Linthicum, Habit 5, Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Caden is respectful and polite. He practices good listening skills by not only listening with his ears, but also with his eyes and heart. He thinks of the feelings of others before speaking with kindness and understanding. From Mrs. Mathis's class, Caleb Myers, Habits 1 and 7. Caleb has improved so much over the past year. He is using his habits to work hard in the classroom and listen to the teachers. Caleb really enjoys playing outside with his friends. From Mrs. Early's class, Will Davies, Habit 3, Put first things first, and Habit 2, Begin with the end in mind. Will always sets high goals for himself and works hard to achieve them. He completes his work and always volunteers to help others or looks for ways to be a good citizen in our classroom. From Mrs. Crane's class, Eli Evinger, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. Eli loves to read. In his free time, you can find his nose buried in a book to grow his mind. Eli has read many AR chapter books this year. Keep up the good work, Eli. From Mrs. Musel's class, Joshua Myers, Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. Joshua is new to TRES this year, and he has been working really hard on balancing his schoolwork and playtime. Joshua works hard to get his work done in class. Then, at recess or in his free time, he loves to share his love of magic tricks with his 4th grade friends. Joshua has a good understanding that balance feels best. From Mrs. Weiss, Maddox Davis, Habit 1, Be Proactive. Maddox takes responsibility for his actions. He knows that he alone controls his own weather or attitude. Maddox thinks about the future and focuses on his circle of control. From Mrs. Simpson's class, Taylor Snell, Habits 1, 2, and 3. Taylor is a great leader in 5th grade. She always has a positive attitude. She thinks about what needs to be accomplished before she begins, and she's always diligent about completing any task that is put in front of her. For Mrs. Martin's class, Deacon Birch, Habit 4, Think Win-Win. Deacon has been such a joyful addition to our 5th grade class. He is so positive, and his charismatic nature just draws you in. He loves to help solve problems and create positive solutions to help out his peers and teachers. For Mrs. Powell's class, Wyatt Goings. Habit 1, be proactive. Wyatt always does his work so he can enjoy his free time. He always takes care of his big rocks first. For Miss Tori's class, Kingston Kirk. Habit 3, put first things first. Kingston has worked really hard at learning his letters, numbers, routine, and expectations. He has improved in so many different ways throughout the year. Keep up the good work, heroes.
Our first Leader of Me Day is coming up on May 12th. We'll have many visitors in the building that day. Let's show them that we are amazing leaders.
Please read today's positive affirmations out loud together.
Waiting to interrupt. Waiting to interrupt for an important public service announcement.
So, I'm here for today's PSA. That rhymed. Okay, so basically, we have a major problem. Water bottles can grow mold in multiple of the more dark, no-wind areas, but if you do not clean them, like in areas around here, areas like around here, or areas around here.
I see mold right there.
That's true. So basically, you need to keep your bottles checked, cleaned, and also when you're not going to use them, dry them out, or else that will also support mold. That moisture equals mold. So just make sure that your bottles stay dry, clean, and checked for mold. Goodbye.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for the moment of silence.
Have a great day at TRES.
Together, stack to gain success!